Happy March, everyone. This is Cameron Cowan. I'm Cameron Cowan. This is the Cameron Cowan Show. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching. Always, always, always. This video is based on a article from Dana Milbank of the Washington Post called "America's Slacktivist Generation." And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I get very, very tired of these articles. Allow me to give you an example. I wanted to do something for my country during the holidays, so I went to the movies. I watched the Christmas Day opening of The Interview to show North Korea that I wasn't afraid of its threats to blow up the theaters that screened the parody of Kim Jong-un. The $9.50 I paid in the name of patriotic pride bought me a stadium seating, a preview of the upcoming feature Hot Tub Time Machine 2, and a feature film full of jokes about rectums, sex organs, ricin, and the supreme leader defecating in his pants. Except for the Asian stereotype, it was just my speed. Still, I wondered if there isn't a better way to sacrifice for my country. My patriotic gesture was a form of slacktivism, a uniquely American form of engagement in which statements are made without any real sacrifice. The slacktivist gets icy water over the head to fight Lou Gehrig's disease, or tweets out hashtags to fight kidnapping in Nigeria, bring back our girls. The slacktivist wears color-coded bracelets for causes, likes causes on Facebook, and goes to see a Seth Rogen film to defy North Korea. And he goes on and on and on and on. It basically has to do with, he basically wants to force people to serve their country in a more, in a more significant way. They want to, John Bridgeland wants to expand national service, military and other forms, to 1 million 18 to 29-year-olds each year, up from the current 100,000. While far from mandatory, this would be enough to create a social expectation that each 18-year-old would either join the military or spend a service year after high school, earning a stipend, serving in AmeriCorps, the Peace Corps, and the like. They figure it would cost about $10 billion in taxpayer money, and another $10 billion in private funds. I have had it. Literally have had it with these damn articles. I am tired of reading them. I am tired of seeing of them. I am tired of people being convinced, absolutely convinced, that, oh my goodness, young people aren't doing enough. They aren't serving their country. They aren't helping old ladies across the street, and therefore we have got to make them do it, because if they don't do it, then what will we do? It will just be terrible. I'm tired of reading about it. I got in a fight with a friend of mine about it, who was absolutely convinced that everyone it should be mandatory and that everyone should have to do some kind of national service because that's how you serve your country and all this type of thing. And I won't hear it. For one, when did it become time in this country that when we have to pick between a mandatory government mandate and freedom, that we pick the mandatory government mandate? From time to time, there are times to do government mandatory mandates when infrastructure is at stake, or public safety, or education, or something that actionably improves the country. But I think in forcing young people to immediately go into a year of service fresh out of high school, when our high school graduation rates aren't even that great in this country, and our education system could use major reform, I think that it's a waste of resources, and it's not something that I see a tremendous need for. I see the need for it being created by people in their 40s and 50s who are convinced young people are not doing enough. And therefore, because they're not doing enough, they need to be forced to do more. And that the expectation should be there to do a whole lot more because young people are not doing enough. These arguments are tired. I mean, please stop me if in 20 years, when I'm 40, I'm making this argument, because it's absolutely insane. This country has one of the highest rates of volunteerism in the world. This country has one of the highest rates of charitable giving in the world. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think young people should be given the time and the space to explore and figure out what they're going to do with their life, rather than immediately saying, all right, well, for, your first year, then you have to, you should go and do this service thing. And for those of you that will point out in the comments, well, Europe has mandatory national service, Israel has mandatory national service, South Korea has it, Japan has it, all these countries have it. Yes, I know. I just named 5 of them for you. I am acutely aware. We are blessed in this country to have a large enough population and a willing enough population that we have not had to resort to that as of yet. I would be, as long as it wasn't mandatory, probably tacitly in favor of doing it, especially if it were traded for a year free of college. I could see it as being a great way to move the president's 2 years of community college initiative forward. I could see maybe perhaps after college, if there was some real student loan forgiveness involved, I could see that could be quite helpful. Yes, all right, fine. On that point, I will give in. But I think we have to be careful. I think it's a very slippery slope. And I think just because it's hashtags and going to movie theaters and it's please go shopping from George Bush in 2001, all this type of thing, to me, that doesn't invalidate that activism. Not living in fear is one of the most potent things that you can do. Helping your neighbor is one of the most potent things you can do. These are all deeply revolutionary acts. Anything that makes us come together as a national village around a cause is a deeply revolutionary act, because when we come together, we cannot be divided and conquered. And to me, that is one of the most vital revolutionary things that we can do. In terms of the interview, as far as a protest goes, what would Dana Milbank have us have done? Gone to the streets, protested, gotten in a boat and gone to North Korea and protested? What the hell else were you going to do other than do the most important thing you could do? And that was not live in fear. And a national service requirement, or encouraging people to go into national service, or expanding the AmeriCorps program, which I'm very much in favor of because they do amazing work, particularly in education, which could use some major reform, is not going to solve that problem. AmeriCorps is not going to cause us to live any less in fear. It's not going to cause us to do any more revolutionary acts than we would ordinarily already be taken to do. So, rather than complain about the younger generation, maybe you should figure out what contributions we can make to not living in fear, coming together as a national village, improving our education system to have an educated populace, and doing things that actively move the national conversation forward. Rather than spending $10 billion in expanding AmeriCorps, which is actually an appropriation I would be in favor of, rather than doing that, perhaps we should pour that into K-12 funding. Perhaps we should expand Common Core. Perhaps we should fund higher education more often. Fund vocational schools. Do something about student debt relief. These are pressing problems I would much rather have solved than worrying about how the younger generation isn't protesting enough for people's sense and sensibilities. Just because you do not understand the younger generation does not mean that there's something wrong. It just means that we might do something differently. Or in sense, there's another generation after me, they're doing it differently. I don't mean to haul it out, but hashtag don't judge. Seriously, don't judge. This is Cameron Cowan. This is the Cameron Cowan Show. I'm Cameron Cowan. Find me on Twitter at Cameron Cowan, Facebook, The Cameron Cowan Show, and all your favorite social media. I'll talk to you soon. See you next video. Bye now.